You know, in terms of explaining HPC to the public, it's sometimes a challenge, and I've actually done this before. I think what really helps is if you have some sort of simple examples. And so at the time I was talking about supercomputing architectures, and I would say, look, you know, vector processors were in play at the time, and say, you know, and tried to explain pipelining to them. I said, you know, it's not that hard. Think about the McDonald's drive-through line. You know, you go and you order, and the guy in front of you is paying, the guy in front of him is picking some stuff up. And so you're kind of processing multiple people at the same time, all at different stages, and you kind of fill the pipe and you kind of make your way through. And you can see the eyes light up and be like, oh, I kind of got that. And then I was stumped. I said, well, how do I explain parallel processing? And I thought, well, you know, it's kind of like the laundromat. You know, you could do the laundry at home and you have that short little pipeline of washer and dryer. You can get two things going. Or you can go to the laundromat where they have multiple washers and multiple dryers and kind of make it through the process. And I think in doing it that way, it was so simple that even the simplest of people could figure out kind of what parallel processing was and why it's sort of important.
What we do and help them to understand what it is we do is to use terminology and explain what we do in words they understand. The University of New Mexico EPSCoR actually has a program they offer each spring for young faculty, and included in this is a module on how to talk to the press.
You know, in high-performance computing, we get so excited about how fast our computers are and how amazing the processors are, the new technology, and all of the great things in the technology, whether it's the network or the memory system or the processors inside these, that we sometimes forget that the real point of this is what you can do with computers. And you can use them to understand the world around us, you can use them to understand the human body, and to then address some of the most important problems facing the planet today.
I think we need to do a better job of getting our students and postdocs to be able to communicate, to understand the real reasons that they're doing their research. The students can tend to focus on some narrow aspect of the algorithm they're developing, get carried away in the small area of research, and it's important to encourage them to convey the broader aspects of their work, to make it interesting to the public.
I think we need commercials.
You know, in 1997, supercomputing was in San Jose, and I was very excited because I thought, here I had a 9-month-old baby, and I thought, here's a conference that I can go to. I'll take her with me. I'll put her in a backpack. And there I was trying to get through registration, and they said, I'm sorry, you can't take a baby onto the computer room floor. And I said, how? What can she do? She's in a backpack. She's not going to touch anything. She has little tiny hands. And they said, I'm sorry, we're not insured against that. So they turned me away from supercomputing. But they've now changed the rules. So now that she's over the age of 12, she can actually go and visit the exhibits.
I think one of my favorite anecdotes took place during a very difficult negotiation. It was for a lot of money, tens of millions of dollars. And the parties involved agreed to meet off-site and hammer out the problems over a full day, as long as it took. So there were 12 of us, 11 men and myself, and we reached a particularly troublesome negotiation, and I suggested a path forward. And one of the people in the room turned to me and, without a trace of irony, said, Irene, the problem with you is that you're treating this as a logical problem with a logical solution. This is very emotional for us. So I really enjoyed that with a room full of 12 people, 11 men and 1 woman, that the problem was that the woman was being too logical.
Okay, so one of the stories I had, you know, being a woman sort of in the supercomputing space is when I was first working for IBM, we were going out and gathering some requirements for some math libraries that we were building. And I went out with my boss and a couple of folks that I worked with. There was probably a group. My boss was a man. Everyone else was a man. I was there. We were all asking questions, and I was actively trying to do a really good job of my job. And I'm sitting there writing notes and taking the notes down. And then I realized the customer thought I was the secretary. And so at that point, you know, we had all put our business cards on the table, and I actually have a PhD, but I was really shy about that, so it wasn't on my business cards. I made a change after that meeting. New business cards, had the doctor on it, just so I wouldn't be mistaken for the secretary one more time.
I think the best way to get women involved is to show by example. Things like Grace Hopper are nice, but they're just for women. If we can show mixed environments that women and men work together collaboratively, we'll go, a little bit further in terms of the gender collaboration. So,
and I think the secret is getting them hooked early and making it accessible and interesting when they're in middle school and high school, when they're getting interested in things not school related. So I'm the mother of 3 teenagers, and I see the distractions to be great. And so making it exciting at those ages is really important. And I think that comes through some really inspirational teachers and activities that you can include them in.
So I feel like social media is a good start, but perhaps a speaking tour of campuses where it's targeted towards younger female students. We have a lot of vibrant women in HPC whose voices need to be heard.